It always begins subtly. A single quote, a brief line, a hint, a murmur, a sound that escalates into a thunderous noise. This time, that noise is emerging from Queensbridge with Nasir Jones, known to the world as Nas, possibly taking some veil shots. Not just at anyone, but reportedly directed at Harlem's own Jim Jones. Welcome to Celebrity Cookies, where the tea is always hot and the stories come with sprinkles of surprise. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment with your take on the story. What sparked this situation wasn't a diss track, a tweet, or even a sly remark on Instagram Live. It was a straightforward and intense interview. Jim Jones, never one to mince words, boldly stated that he considered himself bigger than Nas, not better, but bigger, in terms of cultural influence, current visibility, and relevance. This declaration surprised the internet, ignited discussions, and sent ripples through hip-hop media. For many fans, it felt sacrilegious. For others, it was a show of confidence. Regardless of perspective, a line had been drawn. Just as the commotion began to die down, an unreleased version of a song titled The Omerta appeared online. The original track, featured on Raekwon's latest album The Emperor's New Clothes, is already a gritty, reflective piece. But this alternate version? It's something entirely different. It's harsher, more cutting, and most importantly, it has fans speculating whether Nas just fired back. The verse in question doesn't mention anyone by name, but that's typical of Nas. He prefers to leave it ambiguous, allowing listeners to interpret and decipher. Some lines from this unreleased version of the Omerta are being analyzed like sacred texts. One line states, "Got smoke with me? Beef with yourself." Another reads, "You got me confused with your fabricated form of delusion / you're dusty, need to be bitch smacked." The tone, threatening. The delivery, frigid. And the timing, almost too perfect to overlook. Is this merely a coincidence? A general response aimed at critics? Or did Nas catch wind of Jim Jones' remarks and decide to remind everyone of his stature? Let's take a step back. Nas and Jim Jones are not unfamiliar with each other. They have interacted positively in the past and expressed mutual respect for each other's contributions to New York hip-hop. However, their relationship hasn't always been smooth. The history of hip-hop is filled with instances where respect can quickly turn into rivalry with just a few words. For Nas, who has largely stayed out of public feuds in recent years, the idea of him responding to Jim Jones is particularly surprising. Jim didn't just make a casual remark and leave it at that. He reinforced his stance. In a follow-up, he confidently stated, "What I did for Nas recently probably has never been done in his life." The last time he was involved in something viral like this was when he was feuding with Jay-Z. He suggested that his comments had propelled Nas back into the spotlight, implying that without the controversy, Nas would be relegated to a nostalgic figure from the 90s. That's a bold assertion, especially regarding Nas, who is regarded as one of the greatest lyricists ever and has spent the last 5 years crafting one of the most consistent and critically acclaimed late career phases in hip-hop. With projects like King's Disease 1, 2, 3, and Magic 1, 2, 3, Nas has achieved what few rappers his age have, staying sharp, hungry, and relevant. So when Jim Jones claims he's bigger than Nas, the hip-hop community takes notice. And when a mysterious alternate version of a song leaks featuring lines that seem specifically aimed at someone like Jim, people start making connections. But is it truly about Jim Jones? That's the crucial question. Some fans believe it is, pointing to the timing, the content, and the tone in Nas' voice as evidence. They argue that it's impossible for it not to be about Jim. Others are more doubtful, suggesting that Nas doesn't operate that way and isn't impulsive. They propose that the verse could have been written months ago and coincidentally aligns with the current situation. Additionally, there's the matter of the leak itself. It wasn't officially released. It surfaced through unofficial channels, leaving us uncertain if it was ever intended for public consumption. It might be a discarded version, a rough draft, or even a fan-made edit. However, the vocals sound genuine, and the lyrics are unmistakably Nas. And so, here we find ourselves in an unusual verbal Cold War filled with posturing and speculation. Jim Jones has not yet officially reacted to the leaked verse. However, knowing Capo, it's only a matter of time before he does. Whether through a podcast, an interview with Vlad TV, or ideally, a track of his own, fans are eagerly anticipating his response. Regardless of what people say about Jim, he doesn't shy away from confrontation. If he believes Nas has taken a jab at him, you can bet he'll retaliate. This situation could actually benefit hip-hop, not through conflict or drama, but through healthy competition. It's about creating a constructive tension where artists inspire each other to improve. This competitive spirit has always been a foundation of the genre, from KRS-One and MC Sean to Jay-Z and Nas, and even Pusha T and Drake. When done right, rap battles have historically advanced the culture. This potential exchange could revive a New York vibe that has been absent for some time. Not in a violent or reckless manner, but in a way that motivates MCs to get back into the studio and focus on their craft. Let's also remember that Raekwon is central to this situation. The track, the Omerta, is part of his upcoming album, The Emperor's New Clothes, which is part of the mass appeal, legend has it, campaign featuring icons like Slick Rick, Mobb Deep, and Ghostface Killah. It's a tribute to legacy and enduring talent. Nas's appearance on this album, especially in this context, serves as a reminder that he's still active and not just resting on his past achievements. Meanwhile, Nas is reportedly still creating new music. Whether he will directly address Jim in his future releases is uncertain, but one thing is clear: Nas is aware of the chatter. When he notices it, he typically responds, not always directly, but with careful precision. As for Jim Jones, he's treading a delicate line between self-promotion and provocation. His remarks have certainly sparked discussion, but did he overstep? Did he provoke a reaction? Or is he simply expressing his truth and standing his ground against the established figures in hip-hop? Hip-hop is a generational art form, and right now, there's a tension between the pioneers of a culture and those who feel they are currently leading it. Jim's comments reflect a growing sentiment among some artists who believe their contributions are being overshadowed by nostalgia. Nas's alleged verse serves as a counterpoint, a reminder that some legends remain relevant. If this escalates into a full exchange of tracks rather than just interviews, we could witness a significant moment in hip-hop. It may not reach the intensity of Ether versus Takeover, but it could bring something new, competitive, and distinctly hip-hop. Until then, fans are left to speculate, analyzing every word, replaying the leaked version of the Omerta, and eagerly watching every new interview that comes out. They are in a state of anticipation. In hip-hop, silence isn't merely silence. It's the moment before the beat drops, the breath before the verse. If Nas is preparing for something, Jim Jones should be on alert. Not because he can't compete, but because when Nas enters the arena, he brings with him a legacy of lyricism that spans centuries. He's not just any rapper, he's the quintessential rapper. So the lingering question is, did Nas throw shade at Jim Jones? Perhaps. Perhaps not. What is clear, however, is that he's paying attention. And one thing we've learned from Nas over the years is that when he finally chooses to speak plainly, the entire world pays attention. Stay tuned, as this story is far from finished. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on the story.